is back home from an exciting race at Bristol where all of your favorite drivers got beat by Denny Hamlin. But the big talk this week has been about Goodyear and what a surprise we were in for on Sunday. I know it's late and you must be tired. It's me, Crystal, and your pit crew old heads, Rocko and Justice, and we are NightShifters.
NightShifters.
Interesting choice of hats there, Rocko, because tire wear was the big talk this week. And for the people at home, for the people at home who might have watched NASCAR for like the first time or just aren't exactly familiar with all the strategy and everything that goes into it, how can we explain the importance of tire wear and what the heck everyone's been talking about with Goodyear?
Well, so to start it off, we have been asking for tire fall off for 2-3 years now. And boy, did Goodyear deliver, right? They delivered. Tire fell off way too fast. It made for
you know what the technical term for that is, Chris? You know what the technical term for that is, Chris?
What we got?
I think it's, what is it called? Let's teach Crystal. It's called tire degradation. It was high.
Yes,
it was high. Yeah, it was bad.
45 laps, right? Like 45 to 50 laps.
I mean, it looked like, we're down to the cords, major cords. We had tires really ripping off the rims. If this race was 100, 150 laps shorter, we've been talking about it as one hell of a race in history. What a short track race. Bristol, back without dirt. It would have been phenomenal. However, it was not. Tires was a big issue. Goodyear had to give everybody a free set of tires because we wouldn't have made it to the end of the race. We was running out of tires way too fast.
So you didn't enjoy that.
Hey, Crystal, I beg to differ. You know, Chris is he's wearing a shirt and tie too much. You know, he's been too far removed from his duties as a crew member. Now that he's all on the corporate side. Yeah, now that he's on the corporate side, he sounds so corporate right now. Oh my gosh, he's acting like he's paying the tire bill. You know, he's acting like it's his money. You know, I'm just saying, Chris.
Technically, it is. It's still money that goes in his pocket, right?
Listen,
I'm just saying. I thought the race was awesome. It was amazing. You know, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, the driver with the best skill set won the race. The ones that knew how to handle that situation when it came up. And I granted, this was not a predicted situation. This was kind of like a blessing in disguise. It was almost like it was a gift and a curse. You know, it was a curse for the fact that, you know, it caught everybody off guard. But the crew chiefs and the teams that adapted the best, had the best communication, those are the ones that whooped ass. I mean, simple as that. You know, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, and Ty Gibbs for a while, you know, but no, who was third? It was 3 OGs. Denny, Martin Truex Jr. and Brad Keselowski. Yep, yes. MTJ. And those were the dudes who they grew up in an era where they had to save tires. And let's break this down. We came in talking like everybody knows racing. For our fans who don't know racing, back in the day, old NASCAR, there was not an infinite set of tires. There was a limit to the tires that you had. And when you received those tires, you had to make those sets last the entire race. And not every driver was as good as others at doing that. So the drivers who were able to manage their tires the best and have enough rubber at the end of the race to really go hard then, I mean, that was a skill set. Jeff Gordon was great at it. Mark Martin was great at it. Denny Hamlin was great at it. You know, Brad Keselowski and RFK, they're great at it, which is why they finished 1, 2, and 3. But the younger guys nowadays with this next gen car, we're used to watching these cars just hold it wide open the whole time, floor it and gas it, and they're running qualified laps every single time, just super fast laps. But I'm going to give you another term. Off throttle time makes exciting races. Off throttle time is when you don't have the gas pedal pressed and you have to manage the car out of the throttle, and you have to keep the car from fishtailing, and you have to feel how it's going. And that's where the skill is involved, because you're not just going fast, burning off your tires. You have to know that, okay, if I drive a 15-second lap, I'm only going to make it 40 laps. But if I back my speed down to 16, 17 seconds, maybe 18 seconds, I can go 62 laps. That's where the skill and the engineering and the strategy really showcased at Bristol, because the teams who took advantage of that, those are the ones that whooped ass at Bristol, you know?
Also remember, Rocko, when we talk about the old heads, we didn't have stage breaks back in the day, right?
Facts.
So those guys that we talked about, you just mentioned that were good with managing their tires, you had to go the full race until you made that fuel window, right? You didn't get the mandatory or the blessing in disguise, as you put it, with the stage breaks, right?
But,
so
yes, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that also played into the OGs, the Keselowskis, the Martin Truexes, the Hamlins, because they raced in that era, right? The young pups got the stage breaks. They don't know that era of, I got to manage my car, right, till I get to my gas break, you know?
Yes. And Crystal, he brought up a great point. Remember, in the spring, we had that damn dirt on the track, and I refused to go while there was dirt, because first of all, it was dirty. You know, I like to be clean and crispy when I'm at the track. I don't want to be dirty. But at the second part, you know, pit crews aren't utilized at the dirt track. So, you know, I had no interest when the pit crews aren't utilized, you know, because we're the show in my mind. But long story short, what we are forgetting is the fact that Bristol, old Bristol as we know it, was still true. The fact of the matter is, I went into Bristol knowing that the only opportunity you had to win at Bristol is if you qualified well enough to get one of those 4 prized pit stalls. Denny Hamlin had one of those pit stall positions. He had one of those 4 pit positions on the corner. And that has always held true because it is so tight there. So you had to qualify well in the first place, or you didn't even have a chance to win this race. Denny Hamlin, JGR, they did everything they had to do to put themselves in position to perform the way they did. And even when the tire issues happened, unbeknownst to them, they handled it better than everybody else. And all the old heads really showed, you know, and hey, we can't forget about Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs ain't an old head. He's 21 years old, led almost that whole damn race, you know, at the same time. So he was the anomaly with the old heads as a young buck, scored some cool points in my book, to the point where Ty Gibbs, you know, he might be closer to that first cup win that everyone is already anticipating.
I agree.
You know who was also pretty close? You know who else was pretty close to their first cup win? We got somebody in the chat that is working alongside them.
Oh, yeah.
The hometown boy, Josh Berry. I did not expect to see him in the front as much.
Well, you know, he's a short track racer. You know, he's Stuart Haas, you know, through and through, and he's in a good car. We know how well Kevin Harvick drove, you know, was at Bristol in that 4. And so, you know, I'm not surprised to see Josh Berry do that, especially being such a short track aficionado as he is, you know?
Yeah, and those guys made some change in the offseason with Harvick leaving. You had some guys that had some opportunities to do other things, crew chief, car chief. So they had to rebuild their brand, had to rebuild their team, right? So now you're starting to see the continuity from those guys gelling and learning and working with each other well, and now it's starting to show on the racetrack, right? So I expect big things out of Josh Berry moving forward.
Well, since we are talking about tires, and you two have worked with tires plenty of times, we've got somebody else that is currently working alongside all these tires and was there pitting during Bristol. He works on, what's the car number? The 77? No, that's his old truck number.
Carson Hocevar.
Carson Hocevar. Let's bring Rod into the chat, see what he has to say about this past weekend.
Rod, what's up, my guy? There you go. Look at him.
What's going on?
Rookie mistake. There's my guy.
What's up?
Hey, welcome, man. Welcome. Thank you for taking the time out to join us.
Man, thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Who else is here?
My kids.
Man, what are their names?
What's up, dude?
What up, my guy? Hey, what's up, my guys? What are we eating?
Well, We're eating deer meat. We're eating
Deer meat.
rice, and cabbage. That's what we're eating today.
Man,
See,
that's what's
see, now, Rod, you're telling on yourself. We don't even have to ask where you're from when you're eating deer meat.
You're eating deer meat, you're from the South, period.
I am. I get. Could you? Eastern North Carolina. That's where I'm from. So if this is considered South, I mean, yeah.
To somebody from LA, that's the South.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Anything that close to the Bible Belt is the South. Plus, we also don't really eat deer meat much.
Y'all don't eat deer meat? What do you eat?
I'm sure there are people that have, but the first time I ever even had experience with deer meat was when I went back out to the Midwest to go visit family members in Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right.
Yeah, you should definitely include deer meat in your diet. It's a very lean meat, very healthy. I mean,
what about a mac and cheese? What about a mac and cheese? You know, if I like a good protein in my mac and cheese, can I put the deer meat in my mac and cheese?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
That's a yes.
Oh my goodness.
Chris, you ever had deer meat?
Oh yeah, backstrap, man. You can make the deer jerky.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm from Georgia. And I feel like I missed out, Crystal. Crystal, we don't know what a backstrap is. Are we talking about a book bag? What are you talking? What does he mean, Crystal?
I always knew hush puppies as shoes, so that makes perfect
sense. Oh man!
Whoa!
Hey, Rod, we were talking about Bristol and the fact that it was unconventional with the tire issues, but I said I enjoyed it. Chris said it sucked. Where do you stand on it?
I didn't say suck.
Well, I always enjoy opportunities to pit. Whether no matter what track it's at, but Bristol, I like the Beehive. We call it the Beehive. I love that. Close quarters, cars coming in and out, it's very exciting. As far as the race goes, I didn't like how the tires, the tire wear, the fall off was so tremendous. I did not like that part of it. But it did allow those who value strategy to see a great race, because it allowed people to show how good they actually could think on their feet, because nobody planned for tires to wear this fast.
That's a good point, right?
Yeah, and I think.
So why didn't you enjoy the fact that they wore so fast?
Man, so we are allotted a certain amount of tires every race, right? And we have to prep those tires. So with us being on the 77, right, we have to do all of the grunt work, as far as getting our hose squared away, smoothing out the backs of them, getting the fronts molly coated, all that kind of stuff, like all the small details. We have to do that. Bristol is a short track. So short tracks, I think this one has 4 inches is the pit road, correct?
Yes.
So 4 inches is the pit road. You can come down anytime and the car's going to be on you like that. So we have to have all our equipment on and ready the entire time if you're smart. So while we're doing that, if we're preparing tires, which we are supposed to do 3 hours before the race, we might get caught, with our head in the sand trying to get these tires ready that we were supposed to already have. But now since she gave us a new one, now we're over here inspecting these and checking these, making sure they're right, which one of ours was not right. We got a 47 rim, which that would have been disastrous for us. So we had to get that swapped out and everything. So it's a lot that goes on behind the scene as to why I like my stuff squared away and done and taken care of, so that when the car comes in, I'm ready to jump off the wall, and that's all I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about making sure that my tires for the future are ready.
Now, let me explain this for the people who don't know what you're talking about, who've never watched a race. Now, Rod is borderline OCD tire changer, which means OCD tire changer, he has to have everything a certain way, the way he wants it. And if it is not done said way for OCD tire changer, OCD tire changer, one, will go off on somebody else, or two, might be under the impression that he will have a bad pit stop because things are not specifically done or prepped the way they should be. Because when you're moving in tenths of a second, when tenths of a second matter, you have to be on point with every single move you do and with how well your equipment is prepped, Rod. That's what I heard when you said that. Would you agree?
Yep, that's
OCD tire
exactly
changer?
what that's OCD all the way to the max.
He
Nothing
also
short,
brought up another
nothing
point.
short of it.
He also brought up another point where they got a rim from another team.
Mm-hmm. That's
So,
whose
Yeah.
fault is that?
That's
Human error.
That's human
That
error.
happens, man.
Right?
Yep.
So, however, though, if they would have put that
Oh.
17 rim on that 77 car, that would have been a penalty for the 77, right?
Mhm.
That's frowned upon. Because that's like you sharing tires and you have more tires in the competition, right?
Mhm.
So that would have been an infraction against the 77.
Yep.
Right? So that was a good catch by the boys realizing, hey, we got the rim here.
Hey, did you find that tire, Rod? Who pointed that
I
out? Tire
did.
specialist? Oh, you
I
did.
did. Me
OCD
and the
tire
tire
changer.
specialist. Yeah, see, I was over there and I was drilling them out, and then I pointed at the wheel, and it had 77, and then the tire specialist went to another guy and was pointing at the wheel saying this is an hour. So he had to take that back, hurry up and get us what we needed.
But you got to think of how many tires they had to mount. It was like over 140 tires. Let's see if there's 40 cars, 4 tires a piece. There's over 140 tires that had to be mounted or dismounted and redistributed out, to the teams in a timely way. So you're going to have to expect that issues might happen,
Right.
But that was good find by you. I still felt like it was a good race. And even though you didn't have a lot of pit stops, opportunity. I mean, you did have a lot of pit stop opportunities. I still think it mattered. Like there was a lot of fast pit stops out there. I think the 11 car on the
11
past
to 20.
few weeks, the 11 car the past few weeks have been straight up showing out.
They have an
So
8.4
I don't know
second
how y'all feel about that, but it's pretty cool to see, that type of performance.
No, they definitely put on the show, Rock. Those Gibbs cars, those Gibbs guys are getting it done. If you watch some of the highlights, they highlight the 11 and the 20 doing identical stops, after the race. So those boys are on point. They got their stuff together, and it's showing early. The magic will be if it holds on for the rest of the season, right? So we're still early. We're still early yet, right?
Yeah, we're only 5 races in, but I mean, still that asphalt knowledge. The analysts. What is it called? The timing system that y'all look at, Rod? Asphalt.
SMT. The SMT,
Yeah, the SMT.
or Asphalt Analytics.
Yes, Asphalt Analytics SMT. Where do they have y'all rank, and how are y'all doing as a crew overall? Because you're kind of like the OG veteran of your crew, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah, I am. Now, me and Zico, we got there. Actually, I think Zico got there a year before me, but yeah, I'm on year 9. He's on year 10. And the other guys, they just started, except Cody French. I think this is his 4th year, the Jackman.
Mm-hmm.
4th or 5th year.
Yeah, you're an OG. You're an OG. You're 9.
Oh, man.
That's OG status, man. That's OG status.
Well, you've been there for a while, but I guess anybody that's watching this, they probably don't know that much about you. So give us a little bit of a backstory, like how you got in and what you did before starting to pit and how it's kind of incorporated to your career now.
So a little bit about myself. My name is Rod Cox. I'm from Tuscarora, North Carolina. It's right outside of New Bern, North Carolina. I got into this sport from football. The recruiting coordinator at Hendrick Motorsports, Keith Flynn, he came out to NC State and asked if anybody would be interested in doing this. And they mentioned my name, and I was like, no, y'all got the wrong guy. The only thing that I knew about NASCAR was that Jeff Gordon was on the Food Line commercial. That's it. Like, I didn't pay attention to it or anything. And my strength coach sat me down and he talked to me and was like, look, if you don't go to the league or if you don't make it on a team, like you should definitely look into this because it's a job, you know. And if you're interested in still competing and being athletic, you should check it out first, because I told him that I was on my way to go to an engineering interview because I have a civil engineering degree, and that's what I was going to do. I was just going to get a regular job and just 9 to 5 it up and be an engineer. Like, that's all I knew. That's what I went to school for. But he said, try this first. If you don't like it, then you can go be an engineer. But if you go be an engineer and you don't like that, you won't be able to try this again. Yeah. So I went to the combine to try it out. There was over 100 people there. Of that group, they invited 30 of us to mini camp. And out of mini camp, they chose 7 of us. And I was one of the lucky 7 to join Hendrick Motorsports that year. So at the combine, we did things similar to Pro Day, which, you know, the 5-10-5, the L drill. We didn't do the 40-yard dash, but we did a 300, the bench press test, the whole 9. And that's how you get invited to mini camp. And in mini camp, they take the people who are the best, the most coachable, I would say, and who worked well with others and great team players, great personalities. Those were the people that they chose to come and try Hendrick Motorsports out. So that's how I ended up here. And I've used all of that stuff, you know, up to this point, you know, being athletic, strength, speed. I've always been the person to rely on brains over bronze. Even though I was athletic, I was more smart than athletic. Because once something goes down, like your leg is hurt or your back is hurt or something, you're going to need to think to figure out how you can still do this efficiently and faster than everybody else. So relying on just your physical ability was never something that I loved doing.
Interesting. So I didn't know about the engineering. So civil engineering. I did. Well, of course you did.
That brain. Got that brain power.
Civil engineering, is there a position within NASCAR that you can move to with that? Because I know civil is a little bit different than mechanical and everything else. So I'm not sure where civil goes into the sport. So I'm just curious. So
civil engineering has to do with everything that you can see in a city, like buildings, bridges, roads, airports, all that type of stuff. My concentration was in transportation. Okay. So if there was something crafty that you wanted me to come up with related to the cars and these tracks, I could do that. And I've been working on some things, but I've never shared them because, I mean, there wasn't the space to share them on time.
Wait.
We got an exclusive.
Because, you know, there's a lot of engineering that went into building the track inside of the Coliseum. So what would be your take on Dodger Stadium and putting the track in there? I'm just curious about that.
In Dodger Stadium? Well, I don't know too much about Dodger Stadium right offhand, but I mean, I'm sure if I took a look at it, I could tell you a few pros and cons from my standpoint. It'll
Rod is from North Carolina. He don't even know where Dodger Stadium is. That's LA.
Excuse me, Dodger Stadium is an iconic location, just like Yankee Stadium is. Don't even start that.
He eating deer meat. Rod eating deer meat. He don't know where Dodger Stadium is. He eating deer meat.
Dogs aren't made of deer meat.
Dodger. Look, what are the Dodgers? Do they play hockey or something? Is a hockey thing? But yeah, that's I mean, as far as my engineering discipline, so engineering is a way of thinking for the most part. Like before you matriculate into your concentration, matriculate means to like get into your main core classes for whatever discipline, like textiles, civil, whatever. Before you matriculate, the main goal of taking those classes was to get your mind to think differently. Okay. So NC State did a really good job of making you look at the world totally different.
Another ACT school. Remember that.
Oh yeah.
ACC,
so, so
it's not a Wake Forest or nothing, but it's all right.
Just saying.
Don't listen to them.
Just saying. Go Geeks. Go
Don't worry about
Geeks.
what I have to say. They do this all the time.
Go Geeks. Sorry.
I love the color of your shirt too. While you say that, I love that.
Damn.
Anyway, so you were saying about civil engineering. Now, have you looked into a future with NASCAR? Like, once you think you're going to be done with the physicality of being an athlete?
I have. I've dabbled here and there. I talked with a few engineers at Hendrick Motorsports, just picking their brain on how it is, what they do, their daily schedule, what they're involved in. Hendrick Motorsports is a very big, in-depth place, and they have people hired to do just a specific thing. So, I mean, I don't know if I will continue there or another team, but I have definitely looked into being a part of the sport still after my physical abilities gone away.
Nice. All right. Well, we can go ahead and get back to talking about pit. Oh, he changed his shirt. Wow.
It's still red and black.
It don't matter. It's not as red.
An attempt was made.
It was not as red, y'all.
So I want to get back to talking about Bristol and the pit crews at Bristol, because I know that on Stacking Pennies, a friend of the show, Ryan Flores, was talking about the 8 car, and I believe it was like the front tire changer jumped in front of the car. I don't know if you guys... It
was the carrier, I believe. It was a tire carrier. And yes, that is a rehearsed move. I remember back when I was pitting way back in the way that, the driver cannot hear you from inside of the car. And if the car drops, when the jack drops, depending on how you're coached, the driver will just go automatically if the crew chief isn't instructing him. And the only way he knows whether to do something is to do that, to jump on the hood to keep the car from moving out, or else he's going to go. So, I think that was a choreographed move. Rod, can you confirm?
Yes, that was a choreographed move, because if he lets that car go and that wheel comes off on the track, now people are suspended, and you also have to come back down pit road, and that's more time that you're getting dinged there. So the best possible solution to the problem is to jump on the hood and get in his view as best you can, and let him back up so that you can fix the error that you guys just made.
That takes a lot of trust. That takes a lot of trust.
Another thing to that is, you got to remember at Bristol, given that how short and fast it is, if you come down pit road on a green flag, you are going down 2 to 3 laps, guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. Right? And you ain't got no tire on there, so your car isn't going as fast as it normally does. So you're definitely going down at least 3.
Yeah, which is interesting because of all these green flag pit stops, because of the tire wear or tire. I got it right. Tire wear. There were only 5 cars on the lead lap, which I found interesting. So, what do you guys think about that?
That's the way it used to be. Okay. For the simple fact of when there was a car that was really rolling at a small track like that, within the first 5 laps, the tail end of the car is getting lapped. The tail end of the field is getting lapped. But with the strategy being what it was, remember, y'all, this is race 5. We've had 5 different winners from 3 different manufacturers. We've seen this was the first short track, true short track. You can count Phoenix, but this is the first true short track. And I will look at this as a big test session, because my goal wasn't this race. The goal is Bristol in the fall during playoff time. And I feel there was a lot of research and data collected at this huge test session. What made me feel like it was a test session? By the pre-race performance. I don't know if y'all were there, but Chris, Rod, if you remember, before driver intros, the race performance, I thought I was at a wedding, and the wedding band, it was some band playing, and it wasn't Jelly Roll, it wasn't Merle, it wasn't Morgan Wallen, I felt like it was a wedding singers group. So
it was
bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. So
this doesn't show up on the broadcast.
Crystal, because it was that bad. It was bad. Don't look back at it.
Don't look
at it. Worse than that little girl singing the the anthem at the All-Star game, is it?
I don't know. It's not that bad, but it leads. It was close. It leads me to believe that this was research and data to make sure when we show back up in the fall that we get this together. It was called the Breakfast Club. It was an 80s band. Yes, the Breakfast Club.
Wait. No.
Yeah, but it wasn't my Bristol I was used to.
See if I can find a stream for that. I'm wondering if you just didn't like it because it wasn't country.
Maybe. I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I wasn't the only one there. I wasn't the only one there, y'all. Cosign or something, man.
Yeah, no.
They all love country. You guys are all missed out.
It was bad. It was
Give
bad.
me one moment. I gotta.
Did we like country because we're from the South? Yeah. What? Oh my goodness.
Rod, she don't know us. Rod, she don't know us.
Mm-mm.
Look at him.
I'm gonna say no. You know what? To be fair, Rocko always tells a story about how he really wasn't listening to country until he walked into what?
No, listen,
I wasn't listening to country.
I thought everybody was Kenny Chesney. So
no, I didn't. That's who I called everybody was Kenny Chesney. Yeah. You know, country music wasn't popping like that when I came into NASCAR.
Wait a minute. Wait, that was the 90s, wasn't it?
I grew up on
Soul
Train.
So
yeah, exactly. We both did.
That was like peak country music time because I was in LA growing up, and that was like the whole like Garth Brooks, Shania Twain,
black men in the South. Because Chris was in Greensboro, I was in Atlanta, and Rod was in North Carolina. We didn't know country music existed.
Don Cornelius never had none of those bands on soul.
We watching the 5 heartbeats. We're watching the 5 heartbeats. You know, a heart is not a house for love. I
learned.
Wait, so I heard country music before you guys then.
Did y'all?
You're too young, Crystal.
When y'all woke up on Sunday morning, did your parents or your grandparents have the Bobby Jones Gospel Hour playing?
Hey, Bobby Jones and T.J. Jakes.
Yep. No, I had Creflo Dollar. And I also had. And I had Long. I had Ed Long.
Eddie Long,
yeah. Yeah, I had Eddie Long, baby.
Yeah.
The difference is, like I said, I grew up in LA. Every morning we got up, we would already have, so there's a radio station called KJLH, and on Sundays they have a couple of churches that are live. So live on the radio would be West Angeles, which is like in the Crenshaw area. And then right after that, I would be going to Sunday school and then going to church at the 11 o'clock service. And then our church would actually be on the radio. So fun fact, the Reverend at the time who also baptized me was like Martin Luther King's like right-hand man. So nice. He's still alive.
Got baptized by Prestige. Okay.
Yeah, actually, it's a Reverend.
Your baptism means something more.
Reverend, it really does. Reverend Lawson. Our church would be on at the 11 o'clock service, and then shortly after that, we'd get in the car and either go home, get ready, and go to the beach. But we still had KJLH on, and then that's when all the gospel music came on.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell you all the gospel artists at the time, like early on, but eventually it ended up in the Kirk Franklin and TD Jakes and everything after that. So we know a little bit.
Okay. Can we not get Kirk Franklin as a Grand Marshal?
Ooh.
Can you imagine?
He's ready to come. He's ready to come. I know he's ready to come.
Come on now. I just gave us an idea, and if that happens, y'all know where it came from. NightShifters. This
You heard it
episode,
first on Night
Kurt
Shifters.
Franklin, the
Kane.
You know
Grand
what?
Marshal.
Sometimes you want TD Jake
Kane.
so he could be like,
Kane.
have you ever been swallowed up?
Would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up?
Like, why do I hear that every time? Like a driver gets like caught up in the back of that.
Oh
I
God.
hear that in the back of my head.
There is actually an Instagram page that posts that clip every day. That's all it posts is that clip. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think that would be interesting to have some kind of gospel artist perform at a pre-race concert. Because I mean, hey, it is on Sundays. Why not?
Would be cool.
Exactly.
Him
See?
or Ty Tribbett or like, bro, he could. That would be so cool.
What are the sisters? I can't think of
That's my
Karen
idea.
Clark, the Clark sisters.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
they would be dope too.
Do the
That'd be
national
dope,
anthem. Do the
They've
national
done that
anthem.
before, haven't they?
Ooh, no.
I
ain't
don't
never seen
know.
a
I don't think I've
gospel
seen
song
them.
on the national anthem.
The national anthem.
In 20 years, Crystal, we have
I
not
ain't
missed
seen them.
races. I ain't never seen a gospel singer.
Nah.
I ain't
Ever.
seen them.
Ever.
I'd have got a picture. I would have got a picture with them. I don't think
Somebody
I've
gotta
ever
call
seen
Steve.
them.
Somebody call Steve. Maybe it will.
I'll text him.
Steve
I'll
Watch
text
that.
him.
He's a
Let
subscriber.
me text him. Let me
Is it
text him.
really?
He should be.
Oh,
I just sent him a text.
Oh gosh.
I just texted him.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so let's
Yeah.
move on. If you guys actually let's do the clip because I really do like that the Fox broadcast has been shouting out pit crews, and this week we also had the championship pit crew. We also mentioned Ryan Flores. He makes an appearance. So let's go ahead and play that.
Ryan Flores, Manasquan, New Jersey, front tire changer, defending Cup Series champion, and more handsome host of the Stack and Pennies podcast.
Zach Price, rear tire changer, Taylorsville, North Carolina, dad to Maxton in Denver, two-time NASCAR Cup champion.
Trevor Apsey, Empire, Michigan, third-year tire carrier, former linebacker at Central Michigan University.
My name is Jordan Osinski. I'm from Snow Camp, North Carolina. I'm a jackman, and last season was my first full season in the Cup Series, and we happen to be champions by the end of the year.
Chris Conklin, fueler, Snow Camp, North Carolina, four-time Xfinity champion, defending 2023 Cup champion. Started in the sport as a jackman, been a fueler since 2019.
I guess you got to be on Snow Camp. You got to be from Snow Camp to be on that crew. I heard that twice. Snow Camp,
Right.
North
2 times.
Carolina, 2 times. And then how about Chris Conklin? You know, with all his accolades and, you know.
I don't know. Jordan caught my attention though, because that's almost like the story that we heard from Darrell, where within his first season he gets this huge win and can't even fathom how big it is because it's just his first.
He doesn't get the whole win. I mean, this huge win. He wins the championship, Crystal, in his first full year in Cup.
That's crazy.
How lucky! I mean, you got guys like me who's been chasing championships for 17 years. And he wins it on his first attempt.
Wow.
Man, I need to take him with me when I play the lotto.
Hey, Rod, what about for you? What big wins you have under your belt?
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to sound crazy when I say this, but I really don't keep track of the wins like that.
What about the
don't?
Because he has had so many, especially Junior
What about the big ones, the Indies, the
you have any Crown Jewel wins?
Crown Jewels, yeah. You got any Crown Jewels?
Xfinity wise, I do. Cup wise, I don't. I don't have any Crown Jewels.
They count too.
So Xfinity and Cup, I've won a lot. Xfinity and Cup. I was on the Noah Gragson team 2 years ago. We won like 10 races that year.
My 10
first
races
year
in 1 year. Talk your ish, Rod. Stop
Man, it was fun. It was fun. I mean, I'm a humble dude. I don't like just, that's probably why I don't remember like certain wins, because it was like, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do the best that I can do. Win. all right, cool. We're gonna pack it up and I'm gonna come out next week and we're gonna beat you again. Like I'm trying to stack them up, and then at the end of the year, look back like, wow, that's how many we won. That's crazy. Yeah. And then start training again to beat you again next year. Like that's really how my mind is geared. But we won Daytona with Michael Annett when he won. Right. We got rings for that one. We've won Indy. We won Miami. We won Iowa. I've won at Pocono. I've won.
And we're going back to Indy. You said Indy. Yeah. We're going back. We're going back to the oval.
I didn't kiss the brick. But
he's remember he's OCD now. His lips ain't touching the ground.
Hey, remember, I respect the gesture, but hey.
He's like, I ain't touching that. I ain't putting my lips on the ground. He's like, the car drives on that. I'm not kissing that. Meanwhile, me in 2014, I'm like,
can I that was like totally embarrassing for the championship.
No.
You gotta kiss them bricks, man.
Hold on, from the championships, like I've been to and covered a couple races that Ross Chastain has won, and it's like, what do you call it? A guilty pleasure.
When he beats the watermelon off the ground.
Hey, I love that.
Yeah, but we were in Phoenix, and like I didn't see anybody running towards the watermelon. He smashed. And I'm like, please don't let me be this first one that's doing that. Like,
yeah, go eat that watermelon, girl. You go get that watermelon and you double fist it, and
Adam was right next to me, and I did it. And I took a huge bite out of it, and we'll get the picture and post it up. I will vow to do that every single time. Every single time, it's just so fun. I got a piece that didn't look like the inside touched the ground though. So
winning is always fun, man. Winning's fun. Winning is fun.
Winning is fun.
Yeah, you remember all that little stuff, man.
One thing I might not do is drink champagne out of a shoe. I can't. Not even if it's my own shoe.
Alcohol's a disinfectant. You're good.
Oh, so you would. All right. Let's see.
He's not saying that he would. He's just saying why you could.
But he probably would do that before kissing some bricks.
No, I kissed the bricks. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh yeah,
you kissed them bricks. Oh
yeah,
man,
I kissed them bricks.
I kissed the bricks, and I took the pillow. Right. And I took the pillow that you kneel on. It was the Royal pillow. It's in my daughter's bed. Yeah, big purple pillow with the gold tassels.
I'm not quite as a vet. I'm not quite a vet as you guys. So where did kissing the bricks start, and why does it continue?
It's heritage. It's heritage. You got to remember that whole racetrack was bricks before it was paved.
Entire racetrack.
Right.
Okay. The entire racetrack 100 years ago was fully bricked. Wow. That was the only strip they left. That's the only strip of bricks that they left. That yard of bricks out of that whole racetrack when they resurfaced it. So that one strip is over 100 years old of history of all of those wins.
Everything.
And it was the Indy guys. No, was that a NASCAR thing or was that an IndyCar thing too? Because they did the milk. Thing. They drink the milk.
Yeah, but they probably
it was a NASCAR thing. It was a NASCAR thing. It was definitely NASCAR. It was definitely NASCAR. Definitely the first winner did it. That became our thing for the Brickyard, I believe. But yeah, because the Indy did the milk. But Indy that strip has a lot of history on it. That 1 yard of bricks right there. Because they didn't remove that bricks. And if you look.
I have the answer.
What is it?
So the tradition began in 1996 when NASCAR champion Dale Jarrett kneeled and kissed the yard of bricks after his Brickyard 400 victory to pay tribute to the fabled history
Dale Jarrett.
There it is.
Dale.
Yeah, there it is.
Now we know.
There.
He started this.
Yep. And which is why I was so pissed. When we stopped running the oval and we were on that road course because I feel like it lost its prestige when you won the road course. It wasn't like winning on the oval. So I'm so glad to be back.
I feel like road course. That's the magic word for today, or a couple of words, because you guys are going to COTA next week.
Oh, that's our first road course of the year.
Austin, baby.
I love Austin. Hey, can somebody do me a favor and stop at Buc-ee's for me?
Oh yeah, Buc-ee's. That's a trap.
Their brisket, the beaver nuggets, all of it.
Yeah,
I've never had the brisket. I always get the beef jerky.
What's that?
The brisket's really good there, Rod. You got
I always get that jerky.
Oh man,
I always get the jerky. I've never had the brisket and stuff. Is it?
Now,
and the breakfast sandwiches?
Now, when we talking about brisket, all right. Now, this is we got to be aware that this is coming out of a gas station, even though it is Buc-ee's. Now, how good is this brisket before you just send me in here?
Real good.
These are grill masters. These are grill masters at Buc-ee's. These are grill masters.
This deer meat right here, it took me 8 hours to cook this. Like now, food is something that I'm passionate about food. Okay,
Rod. Listen,
well, let me tell you this
not no
first.
warm up brisket they put in the microwave and put on the thing.
No. This is Texas.
They smoke it legit. It's legit.
Yes, this is Texas. So I went to the University of Houston. I was out in Texas for 7 years. I had my fair share of road trips.
Buc-ee's is good, man.
Buc-ee's it's not a gas station. Don't get it twisted. Buc-ee's
it's a mall. Buc-ee's is a mall.
Buc-ee's has a gas station.
Buc-ee's is the best in the world. Buc-ee's is the best invention in the world.
It's like gas station food. There's no saying that.
You can buy deer pellets. You can buy everything from a lighter to deer pellets to a flask to a gazebo.
How long? Can I ask just one question? This is for you, Crystal. But anybody else can answer this question. How long has LA had barbecue? Do y'all eat barbecue over there?
We have some of the best barbecue. I promise. You have to know where to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I can't talk to people that live in North Carolina about barbecue wars, although I live in Texas. I still think the best barbecue that I've had was in LA. Now, to tell you, I don't know if these people came from a big barbecue place, but we have great barbecue. Okay. We have great food, every type of food you can find in LA.
Have you ever been to Terry Black's?
Who?
Terry Black's over in Texas.
That's in Austin. No, that's in Austin. Good barbecue.
That's good.
It's safe to say, it sounds like we're eating this weekend since we're going to be in Austin, Texas, fellas. When you getting out there, Rod?
Well, man, I'm getting there Saturday.
When you getting there, Just?
Friday morning. Friday morning for me.
Okay, then I want a review from all of you.
Terry Black.
I want you, Rod, to try Buc-ee's brisket and give me a food rating.
Oh my gosh. I got to try it.
I'll give you that. I'll do that.
You got to be the food expert.
I'll try it.
Send it to us, and we'll put it up here.
I am definitely.
You're gonna love it, Rod. You're gonna love it.
You can get it in Fort
Am I going for everybody that has seen my stories or reels? Am I gonna say get up and go get you something at the end of this, or am I gonna be like, nah, this ain't it?
I think you're gonna be like, get up and get you some.
Okay.
Because what you're gonna do is, as soon as you get to Texas, you guys still go to Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, we're going soon. We're going soon.
Yeah,
right
you can catch it in Dallas.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Well, I'm going to Buc-ee's because we got to fill up before we get on the flight. So we're gonna fill up at Buc-ee's.
They got 100 gas pumps. Oh yeah, and the beaver nuggets.
That's insane.
Those beaver nuggets. Hey.
Oh yeah.
All you do is go up there and say, "Where are your beaver nuggets?"
No, you don't
beaver
even have
nuggets. Is it actually beaver or is it what is that? Is that chicken? What is that?
It's made of beaver. Yes.
It's like a mix. It's a deer meat with beaver.
It's not what you think.
It's called a venadier.
Venadier, whatever they can catch. Whatever they can catch.
I would not be shocked if you found that at Buc-ee somewhere.
You can find everything at Buc-ee's.
When we're talking about Coda, you guys were saying last week that at Coda it's not really a pit, influence track. There's not very many pit stops, and when it comes to pitting, that it really does come down to fuel, right?
Two strategies: 2 stop or 3 stop. What are y'all going to be, Rod? A 2 or 3 stop strategy?
He hasn't told us that yet. Most of the time, I'm involved with 2 stop strategies, but then again, if this track might have some surprises like last week. You never know. So,
what about the R word coming into play? Because you also have the option of rain tires too, right? I didn't mean to say it.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't think the weather's going to be like that. I haven't looked at the forecast, but it is a road course. I know that at road courses, rain tires are an option if that does happen, right?
Right.
Yes.
So how does that also impact?
I said she is up here just cursing us out.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I just want to know.
That's a very bad word.
I tried not to say it. I said the R word and then it just slipped. That sounds
Well, I don't think they're not backwards. At least they're not backwards. On the road course, because rain and being in backwards, is a bit challenging. But like I say, with the road course and waiting on fuel, they can kind of just take their time and make sure everything is secure, because you're not going to be doing 8-second pit stops. You're literally are going to finish your tires, or you're going to sit in the pit box and wait for them to fill up that car. So, I mean, it's almost like a vacation after all the high stress and anxiety of the past 2 weeks where pit stops have mattered. It's I feel like the crew members can take an opportunity to breathe a little bit after the first 5 races were just so high stress for them.
No,
road courses are definitely a lighter venue on the pit crew side than your normal half miles or short tracks, right? So you go into those weekends not really lazy. That's a bad word to say, but you definitely, it's not as intense as your short tracks or mile and a half races where
less stressful.
Stress levels way down.
You can get to it with a lot more ease.
Right.
Because it sounds like last week was very stressful. And I have a feeling that the week after might be a little bit stressful too, because you're going back to a short track, right? Richmond. After Coda, right?
Easter Sunday, right?
I think this is the first time that we actually get to see the short track, the new short track package that we used at Phoenix being used like at an actual short track, right?
Right.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. And that's the underneath the carbon diffuser piece, right? Chris.
Right.
That they eliminated.
Right.
Yes.
So it changes how that air flows obviously under the car, which is going to change the handling. It's going to change some pack racing if they get bunched up. So with it being a shorter track than Phoenix, I think the dynamics of the car, the dynamics of the race would definitely be a little different than what we saw with this same package in Phoenix.
Makes sense. I'm curious to. Yeah, we lost Rod. He had to go catch another deer for tomorrow. He had to get ready for food tomorrow, so he had to. You can't get the deer the same night you got to eat it. You gotta plan for this.
Some prep work in that, man. Some prep work.
So when you gotta go get a new deer, you just gotta jump off the line really, really quick, so nobody knows. But he's such a veteran with it that he got a deer back so quick. And look, he's back already, so acting like nothing happened, knowing he just killed the deer, skinned it, and he's already got it chopped up in his refrigerator, acting like he didn't do nothing.
For the winter. He's good for the winter.
Tell me about it. He wasn't fast enough.
Wait, that's deer?
Yeah, that's deer. That's what it looks like. Oh, where I'm at. Yeah, that's deer right there. Oh, that's what it looks like. Kind of looks like barbecue, huh?
We're learning today.
That's deer.
I need some ketchup on that.
That's it.
Oh,
ketchup.
I need some ketchup.
I don't know if ketchup goes on. I mean, maybe if you made it a sandwich, maybe. This is more like it ain't like anything, actually.
I need some yum sauce on it. Put some yum on it.
Beef.
Well, we were talking
more similar to beef.
Yeah, we were talking about Richmond coming up after Coda on Easter Sunday. So technically, you guys have like somewhat of a bye week with the road course, and then going to Richmond with the short track package and what to expect there.
Do you like Richmond?
Love Richmond. I always have my fastest stops in Richmond. I love it.
Ooh.
It's a great place. It's a great place.
And you're right. And then now you bring up a good point, because now I remember Richmond, you're going to have 2 or 3 green flag stops that matter. You know, it just always works out that way, where it's going to happen.
And we're not getting those tires, the same tires, right? That was just for Bristol.
No.
Correct?
Yes, I believe so. I got to confirm that, though, even though I got the Goodyear hat on. I don't work for them, even though I look like I do. But hey, I got a question, Rod.
Yeah.
How is Carson Hocevar getting into the pits?
Well, last week was a bit up and down, but other than last week, he's been great. He's been great getting into the box. He works really hard at it, really diligent. He even came and worked out with us. Like, that's how invested Carson was over the off season. Like, him and the crew chief came and worked out with us. They came to practice. He came and drove, stopped. Like, he was getting it all dialed in, you know. But last week there was so much stuff to think about, and the tracks were different, and the tires were losing their wear. So it's like the car was a totally different animal coming into the box anyway. So I'm not even gonna hold last week against him. He did the best that he could do, and it was good enough for us to run our first 8 of the year. So he does pretty good. I'm gonna say he does pretty good overall for this year. He gets an 8 out of 10 so far.
That's pretty good for a rookie driver.
Yeah, so he's aggressive getting into that box. He's aggressive.
That's a hard
yeah, he is aggressive coming in. He's aggressive, and he's not like sliding all over the place. We know people love to blow the box and stop long all the time and short, and it's really hard for the crew to jump onto the car and start working as soon as it comes to a halt if you don't know where it's gonna stop. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, teams like, you know, like at like, let's say Hendrick Motorsports drivers or Joe Gibbs drivers, you know, Kyle Busch, people like that, they'll come in the exact same, like, every time and stop right on the mark, right where they're supposed to, like, you know, almost 95% of the time, which is why those pit crews have a slight advantage of running consistent fast stops, you know, because sometimes if you look at replays, sometimes the front changer's already on his knees before the car even comes to a stop, because he's so faithful in that driver that he's gonna stop right here. He's already on his knees ready to engage and get that tire off.
The driver is better at it than others.
Yeah,
it's
some drivers are better
for your driver to be good at it. And Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, they're known to push the limits of getting in and out of the pit boxes, and it makes their pit crews look like superstars or above, you know, better than, you know, they overcompensate a lot when you have a driver who takes it seriously.
So while we're like, you know, just a few races in, we were talking a little bit about this earlier with Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell being at the top for like pit stops. Where would you guys rank some of the teams? Like, at least like maybe the like top 5 pit crews right now. Like, where would we look?
The 77, 77, and 77.
Well, do that, man. Shout your team out. Who's your front tire changer? Who's your tire carrier? Who's your jack man? Who's the rear changer? You know, shout them out.
Daniel Buc, 21 years old, fresh out the womb, blazing, front tire changer. We got Cody French, jack man. If you looked at him, you wouldn't think he was jacking the car, but bro, he's so explosive. One of the best on pit road. We got Jarius Moorhead. He went to NC State. Do I got to say anything else? Go Pack. Zico Pursuit, he went to ECU, you know, but hey, Zico, he's one of the best guys, best fuelers, best husbands. Like, that guy's great. Like, our team I think we're going to do really well this year. We just got together this year, and I think the sky is the limit for us as far as pit stops goes. But that's my team.
That means a lot when you got excitement about your guys, man, and the way you guys are gelling and you're building that camaraderie together. You got some fresh wombs, you said, fresh out the womb. You got some fresh meat. You got a little veterans here and there. And those young guys gonna lean on you.
Rod is the veteran.
Yeah. Them guys gonna lean on you a lot to pull them through those moments they haven't experienced before, right? So yeah, sky's the limit for you guys, man. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. Because the first 2 races we were together, it was a lot of up and down. It was like everybody was pressing to try to be, this super fast squad, but that's not really how you're gonna be the fastest on pit road. So the fastest on pit road isn't the fastest just one time. All right. So the fastest, you're fast almost 95% of the time. You get there at 90% and you hold it right there all day. You know exactly what you're gonna get when you come down. You know you're not gonna lose spots and you're gonna gain spots every time. So the way that the rankings and stuff goes, those teams that are up there, it's very rare that they have a catastrophic stop. Whereas something goes terribly wrong, they don't have the left rear on and the lug nuts, the rear changer's sitting there holding the lug nut onto the spindle and nothing's happening. And you guys like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Something's going on in the rear. So that guy, the jackman in that situation, he rushed trying to hurry up and get back to the jack to drop the car so that we could leave earlier. But
because they're not indexing no more. You're saying it. They're not indexing no more.
They're not.
They ain't doing it no more.
Not the younger
guys. They ain't doing it no more.
The
younger guys ain't doing it no more. Told you that. You heard him say it, Chris.
It in there. Throwing it in
there. It's all about speed. It's all about speed.
Yeah, they're losing as a whole. I won't say every one of them, but as a whole, from looking up and down pit road, they're losing the art of hanging the tire.
Which, say it again.
You can they're losing the art. They're losing the art of hanging the tire.
They're losing the art of hanging the tire. Facts.
And I think it does not need to be a lost art, because I think that is very important to being consistent. Because if you can consistently place the tire on that hub with no to little movement, it will be so easy for your changer to just trust and dive in there and boom and zip it up and take off like without even looking, because I mean, like,
hallelujah.
When you can do that over and over, like, bro, you will be phenomenal and you'll be in the sport through thick and thin. I have seen some veteran guys. I have seen a lot of veteran guys. They are indexing the tire. I mean, and they're ducking it on there. Like, you don't see them. You have some guys who they index and twist. They'll do that. But then there are a few guys that they were really good at 5-lug. They actually have somehow gotten good at this. It has 18 holes on the back of it. There are 6 studs in that hub. Somehow they are able to match all 6 of those holes up. You got a 33% chance of doing that.
Wow.
And they're doing it over and over and over and over and over. They're not hitting the middle of any of those holes.
Not everybody, just the elite.
Rod, we talked about this last week. We talked about this 2 weeks ago. We've been bringing that up about studding tires.
We could solve the problem. We would have no loose wheels if I was everybody's coach. All right.
We're gonna have to carry this conversation on to the next week. We've been on here for a decent amount of time. Rod, we've enjoyed having you on here. We'd love to have you come back whenever you want.
Tire carriers.
You got Rocko on a whole different level right now. And let the church say amen.
Amen.
Yeah, Rocko was one of the best to ever do it. I've seen him do it when I first got there.
Y'all heard him.
He was one of the best to ever do it. I mean, his shoe game was okay. But yeah, he was really
Oh, get out of here! You're too much. You're too much.
He
Oh,
was
you're too
really
much.
one. He was really one. He
Oh,
was
you're
really
too
one.
much. You're too much. You're too
Uh,
much. But he right though.
He was
right,
kind of like he was. If you was to equate Rocko as an athlete in history to a football athlete in history, I would compare him as like a Barry Sanders or Calvin Johnson.
Ooh, I like that.
Somebody who was at the top of their game,
when
they
he
did
left.
really well, and then they just decided that they wanted to move on. It wasn't that they couldn't do it; they just decided to move on. Like, okay, this is enough. I've had my fun. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
still here, man. I'm still here. What are you talking about? I ain't go nowhere. I ain't missed a race in 20 years. I have not missed a race in 20 years.
He has it.
Yes.
He has it.
I've been here.
Wow. Well,
So could you count on one or two hands how many indexes you actually missed when you were carrying tires?
Yes. Probably
You
two
could.
hands. Probably two hands. But you got to think of how many tires that is. If you
That's
got
a lot
two
of
wheels,
tires.
and then you got to think of all the times I practice. So, I mean, we're thinking about, I probably missed on two hands out of maybe 8,767 tire indexes. So out of a total of 8,000, out of the possibly 9,000 tire indexes, I perfectly placed 8,901.
I'm gonna need the meme of the little African actor calculating.
Tires.
You know what I'm talking about? Where he's adding it and thinking.
All right, got it now. All right, talk.
All right.
No, but we took that serious, Rod. You know that. He's saying that because he remembers. Rod, I was there when Rod came as a freshman when he signed first year, and he knew how seriously I took that. I held myself accountable, and I held everyone else accountable too through performance. And you tried to lead by example, where if he was putting all this stress and pressure on himself to be perfect, everyone else should too. And I just felt like that would make us a better team as a whole if somebody, did that.
But it was also
because they were hot,
right? That's the culture over there. Everybody, you got to be accountable, and perfection is most important, right? So that's the culture that Mr. H has built on that empire, right? So if you don't want to be perfect, that's not the house for you, right? Keep it moving.
You got to be perfect.
Wow.
Bunch of winners over there, and you're one of them, Rod.
Well, I will be at home watching the race this weekend, so I'll definitely be looking out at the 77 pit stops. If they end up on TV, I'll stop and record them.
They'll be the fastest ones you see. That's
what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. Fast pit stops all day.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, we'll be on next week. We'll kind of talk about how COTA went and look forward to Richmond. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And thank you in the audience for watching, subscribing, liking, whatever you're doing out there that's keeping us going. All right.
Thank you.
Good night, guys.
Wherever you watch your podcast.
Thank you guys for having me.
No, thank you.
Yeah. See you around.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.